Hey guys, it is time to discuss week 2 of Caps Gaming as we finished off another ton of great matchups. I'm No Sleeves 12, he is Scheckel. Let's break down the week that was. So first, Shex, let's start off with this again. So there were 7 series out of the 40 that happened this year that went to that third game. There's only 5 last week, so 12 through 2 weeks, an extremely low number when you consider that there was 80 series in total. But I definitely expect that series or that number to rise, right, man? Like that's something that you expect to see increase.
Oh, for sure. That might be double fold in this week 3 when we start narrowing down. We only have 22-0 teams. We have 20-2 teams, and then 40 teams at 1-1.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
As like the weeks 4, 5, and 6 go on, you're getting the really, really good matchups. So I could definitely see that. So let's start off with a series that surprised you the most, man. Take it away. Give me the series that you think were pretty crazy in regards to their outcome.
yeah, we talked about this one at the beginning of the week, and it was actually Turning Point versus the Underdogs. Turning Point won the series 2-0 because they forfeited the Underdogs for 2 games. That was going to be a really good game. I was really interested in watching those 2 teams play. Unfortunately, they decided to take the forfeit, and Turning Point moves to 2-0. So whoever gets Underdogs, I feel sorry for you at the 1-1 or yeah, 1-1 this week. Next series, you got the Rageaholics, who were 0-1 and got the unlucky straw. They had to play a 1-0 team and got the fake montage moment. And fake montage moment ended up losing to Rageaholics. Now both teams are 1-1. They no longer can match up against each other, so we know at least they won't match up. And then you have Prospect versus Prophecy. Prospect actually stole game 2 from Prophecy and forced a game 3. Really, really surprised by that. I thought Prophecy had an easy 2-0 sweep there. And then the other one that was really surprising was BBB in 5.5 men. In game 1, BBB took to double OT to win that game. And then in game 2, they did win in regulation, but also by 1 goal. And they only escaped that series with a +2 goal differential, which is really, really surprising for me.
Yeah, especially for a team that is consensus kind of top of the list from their history and whatnot. 5.5 men, obviously not super known in the community now, but being able to only they lose the series ultimately, but their goal differential isn't hammered. And when you consider that you have to go up against a team that's top 10 randomly early on because how the Swiss format works, it is kind of a missed opportunity for BBB to try and make up that goal differential, because there's going to be a lot of teams, that in that middle range that you don't want to, end up 5-3 and whatnot kind of thing. And goal differential is really going to play a factor in if you have a really, an easier road to the LAN. Because you only have to win a few games to get to the LAN, or a few series, sorry. So if you're, lower in that, in the 32-man playoff because of goal differential, that's tough because the games are only going to get harder. BBB did win, so we have to give them credit for that. At least that they pulled out the win, they won the series as they should, but not taking nearly enough advantage of the fact that goal differential is a tiebreaker, and that'll be something to watch as they were again a heavy favorite, and now going to next week they're going to have to play a better team, and as it goes on forward. So
and maybe we need to pay attention to Prospect and 5.5 men, maybe possibly being double teams and making that top 32. I'm not sure if anyone really know who they were beforehand, but they're definitely getting some looks now after those 2 good series by both of them.
No, for sure. I think that's something that whether it's Sixes Esports or Ones, it's very hard to crack into that fraternity of like respected teams, because you haven't been around, and even if you haven't been around and you do well, you're still not going to get the respect. But until you've done something, and at least pushing these games to third, at least is a step in the right direction, and it is more fun to watch. Again, once an underdog team. I mean, I know me and you watched the BBB game together,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like as a series, you kind of roll your eyes at it as someone that knows the Sixes community, but when they're struggling and they're almost losing, it's like, oh my god, are we gonna see this kind of thing? And I think that's one of the good aspects of this event as a whole, is you're gonna see a lot of storylines and whatnot. Speaking of storylines. So we did the featured game of the week, which was Hidden Prospect versus, excuse me. Speaking of the featured game of the week, we had Hidden Potential versus Legacy this week. We're going to talk with Legacy goaltender J Money in just a little bit, but I want to get your take on it. Who impressed you the most? And that did go to a third game, and it did look a little touch and go for Legacy. They definitely pulled one out there to win in 3, but what did you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Hidden Potential's most impressed player was definitely Blur at center there. He held down most of the offense for them and just played extremely well for Hidden Potential. Unfortunately, they weren't able to win. They had a meltdown, some would say, at the end there.
Yeah, that was a tough watch.
In game 3, they let up 4 goals in the last 5 minutes in the third. They were up 2-0 and ended up losing 4-3. Like, that's just a heartbreaking loss. I thought Hidden Potential had it, kind of stopped paying attention to it a little, and next thing you know, Legacy just went off and ended up winning the series. In game 2, J Money definitely stood out, stopping all 18 shots and helping his team win 1-0 when I think Legacy only had 4 shots on the game. So that was a huge steal that allowed Legacy to get to that game 3. And then Diamond for Legacy as well. He was part of, I think, almost every goal, if not every goal for the team. So those 3 players definitely stood out for that featured game of the week. But yeah, that was one great series. I was happy to see it go 3 again, just because that's creating some content, creating storylines, creating some drama, and sweaty palms left and right there for sure.
So one thing I do want to mention, or want to ask you, get your thoughts on, is midway through the series, after game number 1, they had PTP who was on center, but Flowmaster Joe lagged out and couldn't get a stable connection, so they had to change their roster. McLovin went in at center, PTP went back to defense, and there was definitely some more offense in that series. Not a ton, but you saw McLovin involved in a lot of those goals as well near the end in that last and final game, especially some important draw wins as PTP was kind of struggling in that role. Do you think that there might be like you might see that going forward as PTP jumped up on forward from the last event where he was on defense?
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and that's why having a really good 7th man is really, really important. Having that util type player in PTP. I know for our team, we have some different lineups that we could run if someone's missing, and it's really, really important to have that. And that was props to McLovin stepping in and really helping out the team there. I don't know who they're going to play now. You have 3 really good defensemen in PTP, Gren, and Flowmaster Joe. I don't see Flowmaster Joe sitting on the bench the rest of the year. And then you have Diamond, McLovin, PTP, and Rick Chell up on forward. Will be really interesting to see who goes where. And
yeah, it's definitely a lot of talent. There isn't really, there's not like a drop off where, it's like this utility person is not nearly as skilled as the other guys. So that definitely will be interesting, especially when you consider that like Flowmaster Joe came over from BBB. So it's tough to see if he goes back to a utility spot when he was starting. He's definitely someone big in the community, been around for a while. And then same with Gren. Gren was the utility for BBB, and now he's in the starting lineup, and he didn't play bad at all. I thought, you can definitely notice when a 1v1 player loves the puck on his stick. I think that's something that you'd see, and he's one of the best in the world at it, and he is super confident with the puck. When you have a defenseman that's super confident with the puck, that's just, breaking out of your own zone with a defenseman is extremely key, especially in an event like this where the trap is so, prevalent. So, but no, for sure, it'll be interesting to see what J Money has to say. So right now, actually, we're going to go and speak with him real quick, and we'll get back to you in just a little bit and see what J Money has to think about the featured game of the week. All right, guys, so now it is time to discuss the featured game of the week. It was Legacy versus Hidden Potential, and to do so, me and Scheckel have J Money, or better known as the Crease Police, the goaltender for Legacy. What's going on, man?
How's it going? Thanks for the invite.
No problem. So let me get your thoughts on the series. It was one of only 7 series that went 3 games, 12 in total so far, so not very many. Are you guys more confident, less confident in how the team played? You guys kind of eked out the win in the last game near the end, but how did you feel your team played?
I mean, a lot of people would probably agree that we escaped with the win in that series, considering I don't even know what the shot differential was. It was at least 2-1 in their favor. Mm-hmm. But, it shows that we do have a lot of things to work on. I believe our talent individually is up there with the best of the teams, but we are a somewhat new team, so chemistry is going to be an issue. And I think that was a perfect example of chemistry versus talent. And, chemistry is that important.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely that's something you touched on there, is that Legacy is one of the more top-tier teams that had a ton of turnover from the last competitive event to now. How do you feel like your team is gelling? Is this like you said, is this one of as the season goes along, you think it'll get a lot better, or is this kind of what we see now? Is what do you think Legacy will be throughout?
I think, well, just like any other sport or traditional sports or esports, it comes down to practice. If you are able to put in the games during the week and try and develop that chemistry, then I think it'll get better as time goes on. But if you just show up, for the Caps gaming games and nothing else, then I think it's going to get harder as it goes on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Who do you think impressed you the most from Hidden Potential?
Hidden Potential, it's always... I was impressed with how, not really as an individual thing, but how involved they had their defensemen or on the offense. They were not afraid to go D to D.
No.
They were always looking for those one-timers in the high slot, and that much activity from a defenseman is not something you see normally.
Yeah, Augie had 2 goals, and they were like actual shots, I believe, in that series. No, so yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they definitely use their defense quite a bit in that one. All right, so given your experience with competitive sixes, whether it be on League Gaming or overseas with NHL Gamer, how do you feel the event has gone so far, and what would you like to see changed or done differently to help improve on the event, whether if there's another sixes event in the future?
Well, first off, I want to thank Caps Gaming. It takes a lot of courage for an organization to dive into 6 versus 6 because, as we all understand, 1v1 in HUT is the more efficient and safer route to go. So diving into sixes is more of a risk and a challenge. So I want to thank Caps Gaming for that. I think it's going really well so far, but I think there could be steps to make it from good to great. And one of the aspects I want to touch on is the rules. Now, there always been talk about, is goal differential the right way to go? Personally, I think there are better options than goal differential.
That's for tiebreaker, right? For
tiebreakers,
yeah.
when you don't face every single team in the league, you're only facing 8 out of a possible 80. So a lot of it is matchup based, especially in the early rounds. So I think something that could happen is before signups are open for any event, you publish the rules, let's say, a week early. And this gives time for the community to give feedback on it. Maybe they could find potential loopholes for you, or maybe the tiebreakers aren't right for this particular scenario. And as long as no one can sign up yet, as long as they're still closed at the time, you can listen to the feedback and make changes appropriately to find the best possible format.
No, for sure. That has definitely been a kind of a hot topic as far as the tiebreaker goes. And what do you think of the Swiss format? Do you think that was the correct way to do it for the 80 teams?
Yes, I think it actually was the best format.
Yeah.
It's new, first of all, so it's actually pretty exciting. You don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And once you experience it firsthand, I think it actually was a perfect way to go for 80 teams.
No, I agree. I love how just the teams are, as the season goes on, it's literally every game is going to be close. No, whether it's 2 teams that are on the bubble to make the playoffs, or 2 teams that are powerhouses that as we get up to like 6-0 teams. But I think that the guys that are 3-3, they're going to match up against each other, and I think that can definitely lead to some crazy things, and especially makes every win that much more important, as you're going to need at least 4 wins to get in. So if you're 0-2 or 1-1, Mercenary, for example, they're 0-2 currently, and they're not a bad team, but now they've got to win essentially, 4 of the next 5 games to at least have a shot at it, right? So it definitely makes every win and whatnot count more.
Yeah, I think what helps about this is that even if you did have a rough start like Mercenary did, because you're going to be facing other teams with similar records.
Yeah,
you should have a much easier path, at least for the next couple weeks, and things will eventually even out over the course of the season.
Yeah, and while it is unfortunate that they played 2 decent teams, they're not gonna. It's not like how if it was completely random, they got composure in week 3,
exactly,
and now you're just hammered. Like there's no way that's
exactly.
brutal.
You can't come back from that at that point. Yeah.
No, exactly. No, for sure.
Something small. The money for payments. Personally, I'm just not a fan that the payments only go out to the 6 people on the team if there's a 7th. I do believe that there is a value in the 7th player, even if he never plays. Just the fact that he's on your team means that he can't be used against you.
True.
So I do believe that he should get, even if it's not a full share, he should be entitled to at least a half share.
Yeah, as of right now, it's based on whatever your team wants to give, which Even though you're a team, it is a little, you know what I mean? Like you're not. That's a lot
The
of
backup
trust.
goalie gets a ring in the NHL.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Absolutely, you're correct. Anything else?
Well, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing on you for a bit, but
No.
I do wish there was a little bit more production value in
Mm-hmm.
the game of the week streams, whether it's lineup graphics. Maybe we could do, this is also on the community too, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the people behind the scenes. Maybe if we can organize player interviews either before or after the series, I think that would just take it to the next level.
For sure, for
And
sure.
yeah, because anything that can, when it comes to the Caps gaming streams, it could be someone's first time watching, and
Yeah.
you want to try and just show the best product possible.
No, absolutely. I'm big on this is only going to catch on if you highlight the players. Something I said before as well is that it's very difficult to tune into this and be like, okay, why am I cheering for this team? You can't market a team when it comes to esports. You have to market the individual players. You have to.
And the stories, there's always stories.
Exactly. You have to try and find a reason as to why you want to compete. So whether it be players that are bigger in 1v1, I mean you have one of the best in the world in Gren, and if that's a reason is people like Gren or they know Gren from that community, that might be a reason as to why they like your team and give you an interest to watch things like that. You need to highlight them all because the thing about sixes is that it just kind of melds together. You don't really notice one player specifically in sixes. I mean, for the most part, it's usually the goalie. But no, I think that we definitely need to highlight the players more in that, and that's something that we can definitely work on. I agree. Now, let me ask you this: so, what are your predictions? Give me a top four as of this week.
Top four.
Give me your top four. Give me your top four that you think have a chance to make the land if you were a betting man.
Well, I feel like if why would I just not pick my own team?
No, absolutely. That's fair game.
Play?
That's fair game. That's fair game. Okay, let's do this. Not your own team.
All right, so the four teams, if I can't pick my own team, got to be fair like that, I guess. My favorites are probably Resilience, Entourage. Resilience has been probably the top team so far in NHL 20. Entourage has the history. They stay together. They have the chemistry. They've made some changes, but overall their core is still there. It's going to be tough between BBB. I think it's a 3-team race between BBB, Infinity, or Dare Infinity as they are now, and Composure. I think those are probably the top 5 other teams if I can't pick my own team just with confidence. So it's 5 teams for 4 spots. It's going to be very tough.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely can't wait to see, based on how those matchups go. I know that it was discussed last week about the goal differential being the tiebreaker is kind of a tough way to go. But I mean, the top teams that kind of
definitely hurt my team already.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Entourage is probably locked up first no matter what in that category. But regardless, you might run into an instance where those 4 teams might have to play each other, you know what I mean? Like very bang, 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 where you might see a team sneak in that isn't that. So just because the format in the playoffs works just like a traditional playoff that you might see a team sneak in, whereas these guys would play in the conference final kind of thing. So that'll be interesting to watch things. So, but I want to thank you for coming on and talking feature game of the week with Legacy, man. Just so guys, this is the Crease Police, or better known as J Money. Yo, give your socials out, man. Where to follow you?
At the Crease Police on Twitter, all one word, and at the Crease Police on Twitch, all one word.
All right, guys. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out, man, with us, and we'll for sure have you on throughout the weeks and to talk Caps gaming, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good night.
No problem. You too, man. All right, man, so it was great to talk to J Money about that Features Game of the Week. We're definitely going to have him on again, as he definitely has a lot of insight when it comes to the Sixers community, so I want to thank him again for coming on to talk to us. So back to the the recap of Week 2. A lot of some 0-2 teams. Give me a team that's 0-2 that you think has a shot at the playoffs still, because we've discussed this earlier that you think that you have to win about at least 4. Like 4 is the bare minimum, and it's probably going to require a goal differential. 5 will get you in. So already going down 0-2, you've got 6 games left. You're probably you have to win 4 of the 6. Now, if you are down 0-2, you're probably going to have an easier run for the next little while. But give me the team that you think still has a shot down 0-2.
Yeah, and I've talked about this team already 2 weeks in a row. Both times I picked them to win, and they lost both times. So hopefully they can end the commentator curse here and start picking up some W's, but it's going to be Mercenary. I think they are my favorite out of all the 0-2 teams to still make the playoffs.
No, I can definitely agree with that. So that was the featured team of the week in week number 1. They lost in 3 to Nasher in week number 1. They definitely look good. Like they definitely have decent talent. And now down 0-2, you kind of feel bad for, this is the, the downfall, or the, the interesting part of the Swiss format is that down 0-2, you have a team down 0-2 that's, half decent. The guys that are 0-2 right now, gonna have to, someone's getting him, or someone's getting Mercenary, and you fall down 0-3, that's pretty much your chance at the playoffs. So
it'd be a good opportunity for Mercenary to help their goal differential this week.
Absolutely, yeah, that's something else that they could really take advantage of, because they didn't lose by a lot in either of their series. So their goal differential isn't hammered, which is good and huge, because again, other teams are going to have losses coming up here that will, bring down their goal differential. Mercenary kind of got that out of the way early. So that being said, that's an 0-2 team. Give me a surprise 2-0 team that you see so far. There's 20 of them, correct?
There's 20 teams. And I'm not trying to knock these 2-0 teams at all. They're definitely teams that have won games that they deserve to win and have some wins over some solid teams. But if I'm a 2-0 team that has to match up against one of these guys, I have 5 that I would, myself being a 2-0 team, that I would like to be matched up again with the random draw.
Shots fired. All right. Let's go, Scheckel.
Okay. I would like to match up against one of these 5 instead of, say, Composure or Resilience or any of those teams. So,
so give me your 5.
We got Wasted Opportunity. Their big win is over Ninth Wonder in week 1. Easy Work. They got 2 probably really decent wins with Rageaholics and Response. Momentum beat Mighty Moose and Reckless Abandon. That Reckless Abandon win was in 3. That was a good win for them. Own the Moment, week 2, they beat Off Season. That's a decent win for them. And then Montage Moment. You see it all over social media. All the top teams want to face Montage Moment.
Dude, Donnybrough is going to have your head.
It's a little bit of clout chasing. Everyone wants to beat Nasher. But they had a really good win against Mercenary in week 1. And week 2, they played Habs Legacy and got that win too. So
this would definitely be the first set, because like I said, so now you're playing the 2-0 teams. So we're going to have to see who they end up playing in week number 3. But no, for sure that's there's really no gimme wins anymore against unknown players. The 2-0 guys are, for the most part, really known, and it's going to be tough now. Every week is going to be around someone that's of your skill level or, record base. So, but I mean, they've already locked up 2 wins. So just talking what we have, they have to go 500 the rest of the way, and they have a really good shot at the playoffs. So it was good on them for, not squandering the opportunity, as no, definitely some clout chasing for sure to see. It looks like we've got another 2 teams that did dip out. It was Furta Senders and French Connection. They're no longer participating. So I believe now with the other 2 that did leave in the first week, we are down to 78. So we'll see how that impacts matchups. Like I said last week, Rageaholics were down 0-1 and had to play a 1-0 team, but beat up on Clappy and Fake Montage Moment. So shout out to them again. Good on them. But no, so that was week 2, guys. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below, and any guys that you want to see maybe on the show as well. I thank J Money once again for hopping on and talking about the featured game of the week. We are going to have another featured game of the week. It's roughly every Saturday, depending on when the 2 teams can match up, but it does look like Saturday night is what we are aiming for. So we'll get that out to you as to what one is this week. A lot of big matchups coming up, and be sure to watch our schedule preview show as we highlight all of week 3's big matchups going into the weekend. So again, guys, I'm No Sleeves 12. He's Scheckel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.